Welcome, guys, back to the Alpha Male, episode number 2, episode 2, to my German friends out there. So today, we've got 2 topics to cover. Bless me. The first one, if you watched last week's episode, is anxiety. And we're actually going to get into that last. What I want to start today's episode off with is talking about 20 tips to help you with texting. Why are we going to do that? Why is that important? Okay, here's why it's so important. I will admit, texting is where I have always felt very uncomfortable, and it is where I have always failed the most, to be completely honest. Even after I mastered day game, night game, social interaction, I still felt very uncomfortable with texting. And I never really researched it, and I never really put forth a lot of effort to get better. And it's so crucial, guys. So today we're going to talk about 20 tips to help improve your texting life because, let's be honest, if you meet a girl, you're going to text her. It's extremely important. It's a big chunk of what you need to know how to do. So, as my pizza cooks over here, it's probably going to go off in 2 minutes, just to forewarn you. We're going to get right into it with number 1. Texting tip of the day. Put yourself in the other person's shoes. Think about the text you're about to send before you send it. How would you react if she sent that text to you? How would it make you feel? Think about that, because then that might change. Do you really want to send that text? Because if it makes you feel a certain way that you're not intending for her to feel, you might have to switch that up. Okay? Think about the text before you send it. Think about how you would respond if she sent it to you. Okay? Now, tip number 2. Do not overcomplicate things. Do not be a complicated person, especially through text messaging. What does that say about you in the real world? That says you're going to be this very challenging, not in a good way challenging, person that's just overcomplicated, and nobody wants to be that person. Tip number 3. Text her similar to how you would text your mates in terms of timing, how many lines you're using, your attitude about texting. There's my alarm. Give me one moment. I've got to go grab my pizza. Okay, where were we? Yes, text tips. All right. So when you text her similar to how you text your mates. It's that simple. You don't want to be too obvious, okay? You want to be the whole point is to be this cool guy with cool things going on for him, okay? Make sense? Okay. If you're a cool guy with a lot of stuff going for you, you're not going to be just this 16-year-old super excited boy texting this girl, right? Okay, so text her similar to the way you text your friends. Number 4, do not use very many emoticons. You're a man. Come on. I know we grew up in the world where those became very popular, and we used them when we were 16 and when we were, little boys beating our meat in the bathroom. We're men now. We're men with suits, facial hair, jobs. We're awesome. We have our passions. Okay, you're allowed 1 to 2 smiley faces only, the regular original smiley face, every once in a while, like once a week. Okay? Do not be that guy. Come on, guys. It's time to drop the emoticons. Leave them to the women. Number 5, do not use exclamation marks. It's the same thing with emoticons. It's very childish. It shows you're way too excited. When you approach a girl on the street for the first time, you're not like, hi, hello, hi. That's what an exclamation mark means. So do not do it. Tip number 6, when texting a girl, relate to the things you talked about when you actually spoke in person. So don't just pull conversation out of the freaking galaxy for no reason. Relate back to things you actually talked about in person, because if there was a spark, that'll spark her interest more in you. It will carry the conversation forward. If she brings up random things, obviously tackle those things. But the whole point in texting is to get her out and to meet her again, not to just sit at home and text each other for the rest of your lives, okay? That's not the point. Good. Now that we understand. So let's move right on to the next topic. Tip number 7. A great opening text would be something like this. Hey, it was really nice to meet you. Are you always that friendly to new people? So you're relating back to that you just met her, and then you're asking her, are you always that nice to new people? Which kind of foreshadows the fact that you don't do this all the time, because that's the point, is you don't want to come off as someone that does this all the time. She'll know that, she will sense that, and this text helps convey the message that you don't meet new people very often, and this makes that interaction much more special, okay? And it opens up conversation. Tip number 8, using prior conversations from in-person conversations will spring her interest in texting, which we kind of already covered, so I'm gonna move past that one. But like I said, she said something about something she likes. Use that in a creative, fun way in texting conversations, rather than pulling something out of the galaxy you think she might like. Number 9, if she uses 3 lines in her reply, you shouldn't use any more than 4 lines in your retort. Don't send her books or novels. That's not the goal. Texting is the bridge to hanging out again, to actually having a date, okay? It isn't the date. So, number 9, if she... oh, bless me. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Do not have rambling conversations. That kind of goes into what I basically just said. They're unneeded. This makes you the one that's investing, big time. And you're really showing your cards here. Just don't overinvest. Don't ramble, conversate with her through texting. That's for the date. And still you don't want to ramble anyway. Tip number 11, a great follow-up text message. So I gave you a good starter text message. Let's say she responds, yeah, I try to be friendly with everyone. Or maybe she says, oh, no, I'm just something about you made me want to be friendly or something. That's 2 very different texts. One is she's not investing very much, and the other is she's really kind of saying, I was nice because you're awesome, without saying that. So a good follow-up text would be something like this. Cool attitude, man. Are you free for a cold one around 7 p.m. tomorrow at the Mug? What did we do? We did so much in that text. We called her a man because we want to text her the same way we text our guy friends. And we don't want her to feel too special. We want her to kind of chase us. And then we're saying, are you free tomorrow at 7 p.m. at the Mug? Very specific, because we're a specific guy. We don't have a lot of time. We can't do it today or tonight. We can't do it whenever she's able to do it. We have to pick a time, pick a place, be a fucking man. You got shit you're doing. Number 12, do not misspell words. No HBU that stands for how about you. No CU that stands for see you. Come on, guys. Spell with some freaking integrity here. Be grammarly correct. Come on. Number 13, you shouldn't send a text that's more than 4 sentences. 4 lines, actually. If you have more to say, just send it in another text, because you don't want to say too much in one text and only get a response for a couple lines in that text. And this is just congruent with not being too try-hard. Okay, you don't want to be too try-hard. Tip 14, timing. This is a rule I go by, but on the weekends, I don't text back after 6. On the weekdays, I don't text back after 9. You have to have a barrier. You have to be this person that isn't texting someone at 2, 3 in the morning, because trust me, you probably have done it, right? When you're drunk, when you're doing other things, you have. Tip 15, don't be predictable texter. Use unpredictable patterns and style of texting when you text. Don't just text back 1 to 2 minutes after she texts you every time. That's showing more than you think. Tip 16, do not forget emotional intelligence. Sometimes you'll get this just, adrenaline, and you want to send this crazy text to her, and it's passion inside you, but It's not smart all the time. Sometimes it could work. But a lot of times you'll get it and it's just passion, and you'll send a text like, "You're the most sexy, smart, and fun girl I've ever met." Is that the sort of text for that kind of girl? Is she going to respond to that the right way? You should be able to pick up on the kind of person she is. Are you showing your cards too much here? Don't set the wrong frame for the wrong situation, is what I'm trying to say. And I understand that passion and I understand that text. I've sent those before, but we have to avoid them. Tip 17. If something in your head thinks what you're about to send might not be right, you just feel iffy about it, trust your fucking instincts, don't send it. All right? Tip 18. Don't be too try-hard. We've said that a lot throughout these tips. Don't use unrelated topics to carry on bullshit conversations that you think she might like, okay? Because more than likely, if you just use something from prior conversation, that's almost 99% of the time a better option. Your goal is to take her out, not text her for the rest of your life, okay? Tip 19. Do not reward bad behavior. This one is so important. I have so many guy friends that will text a girl the same night they get the number, and I don't agree with that, especially if it's a weekend. You have to wait till the weekend's over and she's had her fun, and regular life reassumes. And the thing is, if you text her on a Monday and the weekend's over and you tell her, "It was really nice to meet you. Are you always that friendly to strangers?" and she doesn't text you back, wait another week. Wait at least another 3 days. Then you want to send her something that is a little ballsy, because this person, for some reason, isn't texting you back. Maybe she has a boyfriend. Maybe she was really busy. Maybe she's not sure about you. And the only way to really get the real truth is one more text, but not the same day, at least 3 days away. And I would prefer the next Monday. You'd say something like, "By the way, I didn't tell you this in person because I was a little shy, but your body is out of this world. How was your weekend?" You're setting the right sexual frame with that text message. You're telling her what you want from her, but you're also asking her how her weekend was. And you waited quite a long time to send it, so you're not too try hard. And if she doesn't respond to that, fucking drop it. Move the fuck on. It's done. The last tip of my 20 tips for texting is her interpretation of your text is what matters the most. So the text could be perfect, word for word, what I say to send someone, but if she doesn't interpret it the right way because you didn't set that kind of frame, or you didn't set that kind of emotional vibe in the real world, she's not going to interpret certain things the right way because it didn't reflect who you were in the real life situation. So just keep in mind her interpretation of what you say. Okay, guys, so those were the 20 tips for texting. Please remember them, study them, think about them. Hopefully you wrote them down. And whenever you get an awesome girl's number and you want to text her and you have this emotion inside you, just make sure you're following these rules, because I promise you it will get you further than what you have been doing. It will help, I promise. Now, before we move on to anxiety, I want to talk about, very briefly, the law of attraction, okay? This is super important, and a lot of people that try game forget it because they're just focused on the lines and they're focused on, the theories and things, which are great and they help. But there is this law of attraction. It's so important. What does that mean? What does law of attraction mean? Okay, what you think and what you're thinking and what you feel and how you feel in a situation with a social situation, people will receive you and they will feel what you feel, and you will create an environment of how you feel and what you think. Deep down, if you really deeply think to yourself how lucky you would be to have this girl, to talk to this girl, to take her out, somehow she will pick that up. She will receive that, and everything that you're doing will just be amplified to truly send that message. It's the law of attraction, guys. It really is real. Now, those are some texting tips. And why did I want to do texting tips before anxiety? Okay, well, guys that have anxiety, they show their nervousness in interactions, and sometimes they still get numbers. That's fine. But the girl will pick up on it. She knows that you were nervous, okay? And you're not as nervous when it comes to texting, and that's when you get ballsy and stupid. So it was important to get these texting tips out. How do we overcome anxiety? Yeah, I once told somebody just to not be nervous and just go do it. I told them, I said, just go do it. Go approach them. Like, I know you're nervous, but just do it. And that doesn't help people, okay? That doesn't help people. You need to ground with the guys that are really nervous and they're not very confident. You need to tell them, show them situations where guys that were nervous went up and approached girls. Show them a tape of an infield experience of a guy that was super duper shaky but still got a number. Show him how you can still succeed without being perfect, because that's the point. No one is going to be perfect. There's no one alive that will ever get the girl's number every time. It's not going to happen. And that isn't the point. The point is to be able to get out of your shakiness. You get to defeat the fear and to go up and talk to people, even fellas. A good thing that you can try is just going up on the street to maybe some guys that are wearing like a team that you like jersey and just having some just random, super spontaneous conversation with people. Maybe there's an elderly lady that you have a conversation with that's eating in a cafe you like, and she's eating a meal you've never tried, and you ask her what it tastes like, and you find out where she lives and what she did for a living, and her husband used to come here. And then you kind of are just in a conversative mode, and when you go to approach women because you want to be able to do that, you're going to be naturally less. It's like oil on the gears is what it is, and that's the whole point. Is these tips will help you so much more in life than just with women. They'll help you in business. They'll help you in social interactions. They'll help you in working together with people, and that's what's so cool about these tips. And women are complicated. They make us very nervous, and they throw us off our game, and that's fine. But to defeat anxiety, there are ways to get past it, such as talking to people, giving 3 to 5 compliments to people without having to carry on conversation, just to loosen yourself up. Talking to guys, talking to some fellas, having some handshakes, and going into the cafe and having a conversation with whoever takes your order and giving them a compliment to get your gears a little bit less grindy. And then when you approach these women, I think it will be easier for you. And yeah, you'll still be nervous because it's a bigger deal and there's more at stake, and women just have a way of making us afraid. But these things will help you, and they will loosen you up. And over time, that anxiety will fall away to where you just don't care what people think of you. You don't care. You can set up these situations with time constraints that you can't be there very long, and you've got to go, and you're not afraid. And that's the whole point, is to not be afraid. Own who you are as a man. Own who you want to be. Be the person you want to be. You'll get there. You just have to make this a repetitive life occurrence. You can do that. A repetitive life occurrence. Going out, trying these things, learning and reflecting and sticking to the rule, and you will start changing as a person. It's true. It is very true. And these will just, in a world that's just so ever-changing and so tough to get along with people, these things really root you as just a genuine, cool, happy human being. And I promise you won't regret it. So stick to the rules. Last week we talked about OSVIC, the 5 steps of when you're in a situation with a girl, what to do, what to say, how to carry yourself, when to get out, how to get the number. This week we covered anxiety, we covered texting tips, okay? So next week, we're going to dive a little bit into night game. Why is night game different than day game? It's 100% different, and there's so much to talk about in night game, and I'm really excited to tell you guys about it. So tune in next week. We're going to talk about night game, which is high energy, really, really fun, but there's so many things you got to know. To all my friends in the greater Indianapolis, Indiana area, I am Mr. Bones. I am